What's up guys, TommieBAcademy here, and today I'm gonna teach you guys how to grab your snowboard. Now we're not gonna just stick to one grab. I'm gonna teach you a couple different variations of grabs so that when you're going in the park, going off a side hit, that you're not always doing the same thing. But I'm not just gonna leave that there. I'm not gonna just have you grab your snowboard. I'm gonna teach you how to grab your snowboard on a side hit as well as on a park jump. So if you're digging the content, definitely subscribe, because the goal of the channel is to make you and your friends way more awesome at snowboarding. So subscribe, and if you're digging the content, definitely give it a thumbs up. And the last thing I'm gonna ask from you is if you agree, disagree, or have any suggestions, let me know in the comments below. Let's go. So, I forgot my goggles today. Maybe I should do that more often because it actually snowed for the first time in 12 years. So when you guys are learning grabs, the first thing that you guys can do is jump on your back and start understanding body positions. Now, the number one thing that I suggest you do when it comes to grab is keeping your spine relatively upright and then retracting your knees so that your knees come up in front of you. What that's gonna do is put you in a more stable position in the air. With that said, a lot of people struggle grabbing because they're flexing at the waist, they're dropping their shoulders down, and they're simply just reaching for the grab. Now, what ends up happening like that is you take a lot of your center of mass or a lot of your weight, and you actually lean forward, and you lean forward. I do this. Imagine doing that on a 30-foot jump. You have a higher chance of just landing on your face. Nobody wants to do that. So if we can get in a position while we're in the air to be in a more stable and strong position so that we can go upwards of 100 feet, that's definitely going to be more ideal. So again, spine relatively upright, and you're bringing your knees up to you. We're not reaching for the grab, we're bringing the grab to us. Now, the first exercise I want you to do is get on your back and start doing exactly that. So your back is laying flat just like this, and you're pulling your knees up to you. And then you can reach your lead hand between your bindings, your back hand between your bindings. You can even grab the tail or the nose of your snowboard. Really good way to start to understand. Bend your knees up towards your center of mass. So after you've done that exercise where you lay down on your back and you grab your snowboard, the next thing we gotta do is catch some air. Now, let's say you're struggling with catching air. I do have some videos on the channel that I'm gonna link below. So if you're looking for some more guides on catching air, check those out. The next thing that we're gonna do is go snowboard, show you some examples, and get more into this. So the next thing that you guys can do after you've done that exercise on your back is simply stand up and start jumping flat ground. So you don't necessarily need to start creating any momentum just yet. You can just jump, retract your knees up just like this. And the cool thing about doing this exercise is you're able to get a lot of repetitions in a very short amount of time. I can really understand how to jump. I can really understand how to bring my knees up. I can really understand how to maintain my balance without increasing the consequences of moving. The very first grab that I want you guys to work on is called an indie. And now there's two different ways you can grab kind of the same thing, and I'll explain it here in a second. With an indie, you're simply taking your backhand and grabbing between your bindings. Now in example number one, I'm gonna go between my knees and grab straight between my bindings. And that's the beginner slash basic way to grab. It very functional, very awesome. But if you want to get a little tweaky, down the road, you can take your lead hand, grab around your outside of your knee, but you're still grabbing between the bindings. Now that segues us to a great discussion and a good educational moment for everyone is understanding, is there a no grab zone? And in snowboarding and culturally accepted and unaccepted grabs, there are some places that you should not grab. Ideally, you're grabbing either the tip or the tail of your board. as well as between the bindings. Now you can grab between the bindings with your lead hand, your backhand, you can grab between the bindings on your toe side edge, your backside edge, totally acceptable. Now, where it becomes questionable is you have your binding, and then from the outside all the way to the tip, there is a section in between that's considered the no grab zone. There's grabs such as Tindy that you don't want to grab. It's just traditionally, culturally unaccepted is those grab zones. Now there is a couple special occasions where if you grab like a method, you can kind of get away with it. But for the most part, I suggest grabbing between your bindings or on the outside and just keeping it safe. But that's kind of a big deal. I wanted to let you guys know about that because that's importante. And if you've noticed, you watch my videos, I always grab between the bindings or in the end. I don't grab that zone because I want to set the standard of my own riding, especially if I'm going to be helping you guys out. Start to get used to these different grabs, and it might feel overwhelming at times, but it's a really good way to test, hey, I really like grabbing with my lead hand, or I really like grabbing with my backhand between my bindings or tail. Just start to figure out what feels intuitive, and you can kind of run down that pathway for a little bit. Now, when you're doing that exercise, you guys might be struggling to actually hold the grab, and that's totally okay because you have such limited hang time that you're gonna more like do a tap. Now, as we start to go bigger and bigger, yes, I would love for you to be able to grab your snowboard. That's a heck of a big deal. Now, you're feeling amazing at this point, and as an added bonus, let's say you're not on the slope, you could practice this at your home. Cool, let's say by now you're flipping crushing it, you figured out a grab that you really liked. What I'd like to do right now is continue on the indie. Now remember, your indie is your backhand between the bindings on your toe side edge. So we're gonna continue with that pathway. Now what I'd like to do is start to find natural terrain to be able to practice this on. So for me, I'm comfortable doing an ollie or popping and grabbing my snowboard. For you, you might not be comfortable getting such a large amount of air. You might not be comfortable generating that air on your own, so you may need to find a roller. So I'm gonna give you examples of both. I'm gonna do some ollies with indie, some pops with indie, as well as start to find some natural features such as a side hit or a roller. The more hang time you have, the longer you can hold this grab for. So that is gonna be the goal, is being able to segue into the park. So after you feel pretty freaking awesome about grabbing indie, what I want us to do is start moving down the fall line, start creating some momentum, and start getting a little bit more air. The more air we have, the longer we can hold the grab, the sicker it is, right? If we're trying to get a video or a photo, we gotta hold that grab, make it look sick. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm very comfortable doing an ollie and grabbing. You guys may not. If you're not comfortable generating so much power off of nothing, just flat ground, totally cool. Then what you can do is find side hits and rollers, and that's where we're gonna segue to next after this. So let's do some flat ground stuff just like we've been doing with a little bit of momentum, and then keep building and building and building. There, you have to generate so much hang time and power that it's definitely an advanced task. So if we want to make it a little easier, we're gonna go find some rollers. Like I said, when you're doing these down the fall line, you have to be so sporadic and so powerful to get enough oomph to get in the air, to have enough time to even reach down and grab your snowboard. So what we're gonna do now is get on some side hits and try to find a little bit more assistance from the ground just to make it a lot easier and then be able to actually hold it. Now let's say that you're really struggling because every time you land, you like fall down, your hands are like gripping the ground. One big thing that you can do, or you're probably doing, is you're looking down at your grab or you're looking down at the landing. You'll notice in my videos, I might look down at the ground, but I'm looking with my eyes. I'm not actually changing my body positions. And that's something that I've been becoming more aware of in my own riding, is like, where am I looking? Am I looking down, bending over? Or am I looking with my eyes? So with that said, when we go do these side hits, my main focus for you is keep your chest relatively up. You're gonna bring your knees up to you. You're gonna grab your snowboard, but your eyes are looking where you're going. Obviously you're strapped in. All you gotta do is bring your feet up, let your hand be there, and over time you'll just know mentally, physically, subconsciously where that board is, but your eyes stay out giving you a better body position to land. Now, indies may be very challenging and they may be very easy for you. Once you feel like you've owned them enough, you've done them a whole bunch, they're very intuitive. What I'd love to see is you guys start to, you know, squeak your bindings a little bit. What you can do is you can scissor your leg, so push your lead leg one way and your back foot the opposite direction, kind of go that way. You can extend one foot more down and retract the other and start getting a little bit more diversity within your trick to truly own it. Right? If we can just grab the snowboard, that's cool, but can we make it a little bit more fancy, a little bit more awesome? Well, that's definitely the goal. Now, after that, you guys can practice all sorts of other grabs, such as mute, using the same tactic. You can grab melon, you can grab stalefish, crail, seatbelt, all sorts of cool grabs. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, check out this right here. All right, guys, so I'm gonna interrupt real quick and let you guys know that if you're struggling to know exactly what the grab is, where to grab, and what hand to use, I got a sick grab map on your phone case. You pull out your phone, you study it on the chairlift, you study it right before you drop in, and you guys can know where you're grabbing. And the grabs include indie, melon, stale, nose, tail, crail, and seatbelt. And there's a couple other products out there that are kind of mislabeling where the grabs are actually at, so make sure you grab something that's super accurate so you guys know exactly where to grab. Let's get back to it. Big shout out to my boy Sean. He's been saving the channel, literally helping make some of the sickest contests that I've made. Oh, look at the dudes. What's up, dudes? He just said, sorry, Tommy, for interrupting your video. Aw. Like I said, once you own it, the next thing we're gonna get into is independent flex and extension. Simply meaning, I'm gonna push one foot down, so extend one foot, and retract the other foot so that my nose starts to dip down. This becomes a really cool tactic to make things way more fun and engaging, but you're gonna have to grab indie around your outside of your knee, but still between the bindings. So that's what we're gonna work on right now. Now, if you try to do that by grabbing between the knees, it's like so much harder, but because I'm grabbing my arm around the back knee, it allows my board and body to have a little bit more freedom. Now, this is a little bit more of that advanced kind of grab because I want you guys to be able to have something to go to. Get your basic grab down and let's go have some fun with it. So that's what we're doing there. So now let's say that you're super freaking awesome and you're looking for a challenge and you already have both indie, mute, stalefish, and melon because it's both hands grabbing between the bindings, various heel side, toe side, front hand, back side. But let's say you want to learn a nose grab or tail grab. Well, that independent flexion extension is a game changer for grabbing nose or grabbing tail. Essentially what you're doing is you're pushing one foot down and you're retracting the other foot, all of a sudden making the board tilt towards your hand, like way better, way easier. Instead of reaching for the grab and putting your weight in a weird spot and not being able to stay balanced, let your lower body do the work so that you can grab the board and it's just like way easier. I'm gonna show you an example. One of these grabs may be more intuitive to you than the other, so I suggest practicing both. Ideally, you'll have both, nose, tail. And then when it comes to spinning, you have options, whether it's indie, mute, nose, tail, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna give you guys an example of both.
What about like double tail? Can you do double tail?
I do a little bit. Yeah, it's not too bad, man. Where are you guys from?
I watch your videos.
You watch them? Dude, I appreciate that. Let's go. Send it. Boom, let's go, dude. Have fun today. Oh, he sent it. Tommy Bennett.
Tommy Bennett?
Type in Tommy Bennett snowboarding, you might be able to find it.
Alright, I'm gonna subscribe.
Dude, I appreciate you, dog. Let's go. Sean is gonna call out a trick. What do you got?
Double tail 360.
Double tail, 360, bird box challenge maybe? We'll see what happens as I go up to the freaking jump. Dropping! All right, guys, so we're gonna end that there. If you guys are digging the content, definitely subscribe. But if you feel like I missed something or I need to make a version 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, let me know in the comments below because I check out every single comment. I might not be able to get to your comment, but I read them, I promise. And being able to give me that kind of feedback helps the channel, help you. That's the whole goal, is to make you guys as awesome as possible. So nothing but love, we out.